Okay, well done. You've continued to the final part of the lesson. Let's move on. And so far, we've only looked at when we should use the. Well, what about a? Well, we know that when we use the, it's a signal to say, you know what I'm talking about. And first and most important, when we introduce new information to someone, a is a signal to say, you don't know about this. It's not something we both know about. I'm telling you something new. And it also may be used to refer to something as being one of many, such as, I want an apple. Here are some examples. In most of the cases, you can imagine that the conversation will continue, and so the a phrase will change, will progress to a pronoun or a the phrase. Let's try these four, starting on the left at the top. I just met a wonderful girl, and she lives near my home. There's a new shop in the mall. It opened yesterday. Elvis was a great singer. In fact, some people think he was the greatest. I have an idea. What? Meaning, what is your idea? So in fact, there's not so much more to say about a, because it's used for many of the cases where we don't use the. But the point is, they are especially used if they are singular, only one, a countable noun. We don't usually use a for uncountable nouns, such as air or water, or maybe darkness, although in some cases it's okay. And that gets more complicated, and it's the topic of another video in the future. Let's look at a story from the news. Look for indefinite a changing to definite the, and also changing to pronouns. Pause the video and read it through. You can see quite a lot of examples of the various points we have looked at so far, such as a plus noun phrase developing to the plus noun phrase, and also to pronouns, such as a real story changes to it. The final practice session in this lesson is a kind of dictation exercise. Yes, that's right, it's not me. For the dictation, you may need a pen and paper, or you may be able to remember the points in your mind. But don't try to write anything yet. First, just listen and try to catch the meaning of the story. Here's a plan to make it clear. Okay, I'm going to start reading the dictation exercise now. Last week, there was a traffic accident in Tokyo. The weather was nice and the sun was shining. A car and a bicycle were going along a street. In the car, an English teacher was driving slowly and carefully. The bike rider was a student, but he was not riding so carefully. He was looking at a cute girl. She was walking on the sidewalk. A dog was sitting on one corner of the road, and a man was selling hot dogs across the road. Suddenly, the hot dog seller dropped a sausage on the ground. The dog saw the sausage and ran across the road. The English teacher saw the dog and he braked quickly. The bike rider did not see the dog and his bike hit the car. The girl saw the accident and called for help. A police car soon arrived. Of course, the dog ate the sausage. That's the end of the story. Now you can listen again. Are you ready? Last week, there was a traffic accident in Tokyo. The weather was nice and the sun was shining. A car and a bicycle were going along a street. In the car, an English teacher was driving slowly and carefully. The bike rider was a student, but he was not riding so carefully. He was looking at a cute girl. She was walking on the sidewalk. A dog was sitting on one corner of the road, and a man was selling hot dogs across the road. Suddenly, the hot dog seller dropped a sausage on the ground. The dog saw the sausage and ran across the road. The English teacher saw the dog and he braked quickly. The bike rider did not see the dog and his bike hit the car. The girl saw the accident and called for help. A police car soon arrived. Of course, the dog ate the sausage. Okay, now check the next slide. Can you complete everything okay? Let's have a look. Okay. Here is the main text, but with no target words, and the and an. So now it's time to pause and try and complete this. If you want to do it in your mind or if you want to write them on paper, either way is fine. Once you are satisfied, please move on to see the correct version. And here is the original story, complete. Compare it with what you have written, or what you thought the answers would be. The spelling, other points are not so important. The question is, how many times did you get a and the correct? I think there may still be some difficult points, but if you have only one or two mistakes, then that is already very good. Well, of course, in English, we always have some special points to make things complicated. One special expression in English, which is very common, is there is a. This is a kind of signal before the main subject, telling us that this is new information. So it must always be followed by a. The usual pattern is there is plus a plus location, as in the example. but it could be time too. For example, there is a staff meeting at 10 o'clock. There are is usually followed by some or another indefinite expression. For example, there are some sweets in the kitchen. There are some fixed rules too, or 99% fixed, I think. All hotels and rivers and oceans use the, but not lakes. I don't know why. And usually musical instruments too, when they are used with the verb to play. He plays the piano at the Lincoln Hotel near the Bell River. Okay, this is the end of this lesson. I hope it was useful. Please join me again for future lessons and like this video.